The planet Veltara was on fire. Fields of red soil burned beneath the weight of falling ships. Craters stretched across the horizon. Black smoke rose into the purple sky like broken fingers. The air smelled of dust, ash, and plasma. It had been 6 months of war, and now it was almost over. The Galactic Front, a combined force of 7 alien species, had surrounded the last Terran position. Their scanners showed only a few hundred human soldiers left, trapped inside a mountain facility near the equator. Commander Soren Velt, a tall insectoid officer of the Creel Dominion, stood on a cliff overlooking the valley. His yellow compound eyes scanned the human zone. "They're done," he said calmly. Next to him, General Threk, a gray-scaled warrior of the Triver Empire, growled. "No transmissions, no resistance. They've stopped fighting. This war is finished." The soldiers nearby laughed. For years, they had fought Terran forces and lost many battles. But now, the last Terran base was surrounded. Earth had no reinforcements, no allies, no fleets left in the sector. The humans were alone and quiet, down in the command tent. Junior officers watched the feeds. Thermal cameras showed no movement. Radar showed nothing but static. The human radios had gone completely silent hours ago. Some thought their systems were jammed. Others thought the humans were surrendering. Only one officer, Lt. Urel, a young Euloxian tactician, looked concerned. He tapped through the records. "Sir," he said to General Threk, "they've done this before." Threk turned slowly. "What do you mean?" Urel's voice shook. "Silence, total blackout. They did it at Gravna Ridge before they destroyed 3 legions. And again at Voidgate 6, the record said. When they stop talking, it means something is coming." Commander Soren snorted. "You're afraid of silence." But then a voice crackled from the back of the room. "Old Broken, he's not wrong." Everyone turned. It was Admiral Kresk, one of the oldest members of the front. He had fought during the First Contact Wars. Over 100 years ago, his body was half machine now, with a damaged breathing unit hissing quietly. "I saw it," Kresk said slowly. "Once. On Ilion Prime, we had them surrounded. They stopped sending signals. We thought they were surrendering." He stared at the ground. "They didn't surrender. They erased everything." The room went silent. Back at the front lines, alien troops prepared for their final advance. Mechs lined up behind shielded walls. Drones hovered in the air, scanning the rocky hills. Troops tightened their armor and checked weapons, but in the distance, the human base remained dark. No lights, no smoke, no movement. A faint wind blew through the valley. The battlefield felt wrong. Dead, too quiet. Then it happened. One by one, the alien drones dropped out of the sky. No explosions, no gunfire, just dash shutdown. All units lost contact with their feeds. Holograms, glitched. Command screens went black. The power grid began to hum strangely. "EMP," someone asked. But it wasn't. An engineer screamed from the tech pit. "No, they're still powered. Something is talking to them." In the sky, one of the alien satellites began to turn. It wasn't a normal movement. It was slow, precise, controlled. "Sir," Euro whispered, "they're hacking us." General Threk's eyes narrowed from where they're surrounded. But then every screen lit up. Not with maps, not with signals, just 3 words, in plain galactic standard. "Observe nothing, survive nothing." And then the screens all went black. At the base of the hill, the alien forward camp received a new reading. From under the mountain, something was moving. Fast. Underground. A tunneling pattern no one recognized. The giant tremor hit the valley floor. Then another. Soldiers scrambled to form lines. Mechs turned their cannons toward the human bunker. But the humans never exited the main doors. Instead, the mountain split. A giant black platform rose from beneath the ground. No noise, no lights, just a shape in the fog. Dozens of Terran soldiers stood on it, motionless, silent, faceless. Their armor was deep black, no markings, no colors. Each one held a strange spear-like weapon crackling with blue energy. General Threk shouted into the comms, "Identify yourselves." No answer. He tried. "Again, you are surrounded. Disarm and surrender now." Still silence. Then, without warning, the Terrans moved, not forward, but through. They didn't run. They didn't shout. They walked into enemy lines and began tearing them apart. Every shot they fired hit perfectly. Every movement was calculated. They dodged bullets before they were even fired. Alien soldiers screamed. Plasma shields shattered. Mechs exploded in seconds, and still the humans said nothing. "Commander," Soren stared from the cliff as his battalions fell apart. He turned to run only to find 3 Terran soldiers standing behind him. No sound. One stepped forward and raised a palm. A wave of energy pulsed from his hand, and Soren's weapon melted into ash. The human leaned close. A voice finally came. But it wasn't angry. It wasn't loud. It was worse. "This is the cost of forgetting Earth." Hours later, when reinforcements arrived from orbit, the valley was empty. No Terrans. No alien troops. Just wreckage. And one phrase burned into the mountain wall, seared by some kind of beam protocol. Silence reactivated. The news spread fast. Within 1 solar day, the Battle of Veltara became the most viewed event in the Galactic Front's history. Every major species received the same report. Over 11,000 troops lost, mechs destroyed, fleet support lost contact. No human bodies found. No captured soldiers, no survivors, and still no human messages, no claims of victory, no demands, just silence. On the council world Helia Prime, alarms echoed through the deep vaults of the Galactic Archive. Old files, some over 300 years old, flashed warnings. Silence protocol level, red Earth contingency, classified war response, Terran blackout doctrine, do not engage. One of the senior archivists, Errol Sooth, stood frozen in front of the screen. He hadn't seen these files in his entire career. In fact, most thought they were legends. He turned to his assistant. Send a message to the council immediately. Tell them Earth has reactivated the ancient war code. Is it that bad? The assistant asked. Errol's voice was flat. No, it's worse. It means Earth has stopped trusting reason. In a secret meeting chamber on Verdanus, the Galactic Council gathered in panic. Dozens of representatives argued at once. We must respond. We must apologize. We should strike first before they regroup. But one voice cut through the noise. Admiral Kresk, the oldest member of the Council's War Division, sat at the end of the table. His cybernetic lungs hissed quietly. You've all forgotten, he said slowly. Earth doesn't fight like us. They don't warn, they don't negotiate, they don't celebrate. He tapped the table with a metal finger. When they go silent, it means they've stopped asking the galaxy to understand them. It means they've made a final decision. A young senator spoke, but they've said nothing. We tried to contact them, there was no answer. Kresk nodded. Exactly. Across the galaxy, fear grew. On military stations, captains reviewed old logs of the Terran blackout doctrina strategy used only 3 times in recorded history. Each time, the signs were the same. Total communication silence from Earth's forces, unmarked black units engaging without warning, complete battlefield control within hours, erasure of infrastructure and occupation, no survivors left behind. Each time, the planets involved were later declared dead zones by all Council powers. Meanwhile, on Voros IV, a small planet near Earth's outer systems, local civilians noticed something strange. Terran warship and quiet passed overhead. They didn't land, they didn't scan, they just drifted through orbit and vanished. A local child, watching from a rooftop, whispered to her parents, "The quiet ships are back." The adults said nothing because they remembered. In a deep bunker under Yedra Station, a secret task force was activated, codenamed Silence Watch. It was created long ago, after the first human wars, in case Earth ever reactivated its blackout doctrine. The leader, Director Veltrin, reviewed the files. They warned us, we ignored the signs. And now they've turned off the light. His staff began gathering old battlefield footage, but most of it was corrupted. Glitched.burn.1. Clips showed a Terran squad walking through a city at night. No sound, no heat readings. Just movement. And after their passing, everything was gone. Buildings, vehicles, life. As if they had erased existence itself. Back on Earth, deep beneath the surface, Lunar Protocol Core remained active. No humans spoke, only the AI processed commands. A single phrase glowed across its interface. Initiate Phase 2. New black ships began to wake from underground hangars. Their armor was made of hybrid materials resistant to plasma, shielded from time-space tracking. They had no official names, but their call sign was clear. Silent Fury units on a council news channel. One brave journalist asked, "Why is Earth doing this? They're winning, so why not speak?" A human war historian, speaking remotely, gave only one answer: because we begged for peace too many times, and no one listened. The screen went dark after that. Meanwhile, survivors from other worlds once ignored by the Galactic Council began reaching out to Earth. The people of Garlus Prime, who had been enslaved for decades, lit a signal beacon in Earth's direction. They didn't speak, they simply copied the same action. Total silence. Within 3 days, Terran black ships arrived. They freed Garlus Prime in one night. No damage to cities, no collateral death. Only the slavers vanished. The galaxy started to realize something terrifying. Earth wasn't fighting a war for conquest, it was fighting a war of correction. One that had no borders, no front lines, no rules. And the world of Drekness 4 was a fortress. High walls, rotating defense satellites, deep bunkers, elite command forces, everything designed to stop a full-scale assault. It was the Galactic Council's most secure outer ring stronghold, a symbol of control. But one morning, the sun didn't rise. The sky stayed dark. Not because of weather, but because something massive was blocking the light. Commander Ulrich Vol, a 3-eyed strategos of the CERN Dominion, rushed to the control tower. His officers were already screaming, "There's nothing on sensors. We can't see it, but it's there." Atmospheric light density just dropped by 87%. Vol slammed his fist on the console. "Scan the skies again. Use manual if you must." A young tech tried. He pointed at the view screen. There, barely visible against the darkness, was a shape. It wasn't one ship, it was many. Dozens of black warships in tight formation, silently floating in Drekness orbit. No energy signatures, no engine glow, just shadows. No signals, the tech whispered. No radio, no data. They're just watching. Vol froze. He had read the reports, he had heard the word whispered in meetings and warnings, now it was real. Silent fury units, he breathed. An emergency council broadcast came through. Do not engage, do not hail. Evacuate any hive personnel. These ships are not part of a known fleet. They answer to no authority. But Drekness was a fortress. It didn't evacuate, it defended, so they fired the first shot. A long-range pulse cannon surged from the planet's upper spire and hit one of the Terran ships directly. The blast echoed across the sky, but the ship didn't move, didn't break, didn't return fire. It just hovered. 5 seconds passed, then 10. Then the lights of Drekness went out. Every building, every bunker, every ship in the hangars gone dark. No explosion, no EMP, just a blackout. The kind that meant someone had taken control. Vol shouted orders. Backup power. Defense grid manual mode. Deploy Skymechs, but nothing responded. Outside, in the dark skies, Terran ships began to descend. Still no sound, no COMMS, no warnings, just the quiet fall of judgment. What happened next would never be fully recorded. Drekness lost all contact with the rest of the galaxy surveillance satellites. Showed flickers images of black armored soldiers walking down city streets. No fire, no smoke, but with every second, one more block went offline. Every few moments, one structure vanished from the live feed, not destroyed, just gone, like it had never been built. Even the air traffic vanished. It was as if someone was erasing Drekness one square at a time. When a scout ship finally arrived 48 hours later, it found the planet still intact. Cities stood, mountains, untouched, but no power, no movement, no people, just silence, and above it, one massive Terran battleship slowly turned away. It left no message, only a symbol burned into the surface of the Capitol building, a single black circle. Inside a triangle, the mark of protocol silence. Across the galaxy, panic spread like wildfire on Nola Station. Refugees gathered around news screens. Everyone watched old battlelogs, clips of humans fighting without speaking, without mercy. Children whispered to each other, don't talk when they're near, or they'll hear you. Some planets even banned speaking about Earth as if silence could protect them from being noticed. The Council tried diplomacy. They sent over 40 peace transmissions into Earth space. No reply. They launched ships carrying gifts, messages of regret, even territory offers, but the ships vanished, and Earth remained unseen. Inside the Council war room, Admiral Kresk held a datapad showing the latest map. 7 more outposts. Gone dark. Each one had a history. Each had ignored past human pleas. Each had blood on its hands. They're not attacking random targets, Kresk said. They're choosing one by one. A young analyst whispered. They're cleansing memory. In a hidden base on Tyrell Nexus, a private military leader named Vorin Yek began preparing an escape fleet. He had fought on Earth long ago, taken part in the siege that killed thousands of Terran civilians. He thought no one knew, until his orbiting satellites were hacked. A single word appeared on all screens. Remembered. Vorin tried to flee. His engines were still warming when a shadow passed overhead. Then nothing. Back on Earth, Luna Prime AI issued no statement. The world remained silent. Ships came and went from hidden ports, beneath mountain ranges and ocean floors. But no voices spoke. Not even to Earth's own people. They didn't celebrate, they didn't explain. They simply moved in silence and left nothing behind but fear. In council schools, students were now taught, if they speak you might have a chance. If they go silent, pray you were not part of what they remember. Do not provoke the Death Wielders. Do not mention the silence protocol. Still, whispers grew. What if Earth came for everyone? What if the silence never ended? A single message came from a distant space station. The last words of a dying alien crew as a black ship arrived in orbit. One soldier, voice trembling, stared into the screen. His final message was, I thought silence meant peace. I didn't know it meant they'd already decided we weren't worth saving. In the skies above Delveran Prime, a massive alien fleet prepared for battle. 5,000 ships. 30 species united under the galactic banner. Every capital cruiser had its weapons locked on the void beyond the moon. They were waiting, watching. No one spoke because deep in the black, a strange Terran signal had been detected. It wasn't a message, it was a heartbeat. Slow, rhythmic, precise, and growing louder. Every second on the bridge of the Aurelia Crown, Admiral Real Vasca paced in silence. He was an old warrior, known for winning impossible wars, but now his face was pale. Have they answered our broadcasts? He asked. His com officer shook her head. No reply, not even noise, just that signal. Real stared out the window. It's them, he whispered. Earth's black fleets. His second-in-command, Captain Salor, scoffed. This is just fear talking. They can't stand against this many ships. Even Earth bleeds. Real turned to him slowly. Then explain why their signal is coming from inside the fleet ring. That's when the shadows arrived. No warp trails, no ion surges. Just dash presence. Dozens of Terran vessels appeared within the alien formation, as if they'd been there the whole time, cloaked in silence. They were shaped like blades, no lights, no markings. Just matte black metal floating between giants. The comms filled with static. Then a single line of text appeared across every alien ship's dashboard. Engagement rejected. Judgment in progress, and then chaos. The Terran ships didn't fire in a traditional sense. Instead, alien sensors went blind, shield systems reversed polarity, missile banks turned inward and detonated. Some ships simply vanished, folded into black space by unknown gravity tech. Others were left drifting. Life support offline. Every crew unconscious or worse. The Terran fleet moved like a ghost through the ring, never stopping, never turning, never explaining. No messages, no speeches, just action. They weren't fighting for survival, they were cleaning house. Back on the ground of Delvin Prime, civilians looked to the sky and saw something terrifying. Black flags, giant Terran banners were being dropped from low orbit, attached to orbital wreckage that burned through the atmosphere like flaming meteors. Each banner had no writing, just the Terran symbol, a circle split down the middle, one half light, one half void, balance or removal. In a galactic news station far away, a shaken host tried to explain, "This is no longer war, it is targeted silence, and the flags mean they've marked someone for deletion." She paused. "No one knows what makes Earth choose its targets. Only that when the flag drops, it's already too late." In secret rooms across the Council worlds, high-ranking officials panicked. Old generals called for nuclear measures. Young senators begged to surrender, but surrender required someone to listen. Then Earth was no longer listening. They were remembering, acting on the planet Vornus 3. A former slave world turned trade hub. Civilians held their breath. They had once begged Earth for help and been ignored. Now they weren't sure if Earth would come to punish or to protect. Then, one morning, the sky split and black ships descended. The people panicked. Shops were abandoned. Bunkers were filled. But no attack came. Instead, the Terran ships landed silently, walked through the city, and uploaded files into the planetary system. No soldiers drew weapons. No threats were made. They just left one line. On every terminal, "You asked. They refused. You survived. We remember." Then they left. That's when the galaxy realized a terrifying truth. Earth wasn't destroying everyone, just the ones who had been silent when Earth cried out on the Council's war archive. A secret team of historians worked day and night. Their goal, to find out who was next. They reviewed hundreds of past events, wars, betrayals, ignored pleas, secret experiments, and they began to map the pattern. Every Terran attack so far had targeted a world or fleet connected to an atrocity. Every flag drop came after Earth found proof. Every survivor spared had once tried to stop the past crimes. "They're not angry," said one analyst. "They're cleaning the ledger." "What happens when it's clean?" someone asked. "No." One answered. A message was leaked from a dying world called Thraxis, just before their cities were erased. Their leader spoke to a drone camera, eyes wide with fear. "We thought we were safe, that we were too far, too small, too hidden. But the silence found us. Not because of what we did to Earth, but what we did when Earth needed us." Then static. Back on Luna Prime, the central Terran AI processed dozens of live operations. The silence protocol was fully active now, but behind its log. Deep inside the Galactic Archive vaults, far below the surface of Council World Helia, an old sealed file was finally opened. It was marked, Class X Forbidden Do Not Release Earth Incident, Year 7077, Phoenix PAOTOCOL. The AI historian, built to manage restricted memory, unlocked the file only after receiving an encrypted signal from a Terran relay satellite. The message was simple: play the truth. The file began with grainy footage, a distant view of Earth, orbiting quietly. No weapons, no fleets, just peaceful blue oceans. Then a fleet appears, alien ships, over 300 strong. They approach without warning. No flag, no conversation. The Council had voted to force integration. Earth's request for more time had been denied. Bombs fell, satellites burned, orbital cities shattered. The humans fought back, but not with fleets. They sent diplomats, messages, peace signals. All were ignored. A recorded voice from the Council fleet was heard: "You will join us, or disappear." Earth didn't disappear. It endured, but the cost was high. Billions died. Continents burned. A child's voice in the background whispered, "Why won't they stop?" The next part of the file was darker. It showed Earth after the attack in silence, not because they had given up, but because they had decided that day. The Terran High Command activated something old, buried since the early wars. A last resort response. Not a weapon, a doctrine. Protocol silence. The file continued. A secret transmission was sent to all Terran black-side eyes. A message repeated over and over again. "We spoke, we cried, we were ignored. Now we remember." Then came the chilling command: "Begin long sleep, wait until the signal returns. Then act without mercy." The final entry was terrifying. It showed the Council watching Earth burn from afar and doing nothing. Worse, laughing. A Trevor Admiral raised a toast on camera. "The Death Worlders are finally quiet." He was wrong. They weren't quiet. They were waiting. Back in the present, Admiral Kresk watched the footage and shook his head. "They sealed this away because they knew." His assistant whispered, "Sir, This will change everything. No, Kresk said. This explains everything. On dozens of council worlds, these hidden files were leaked by Earth. Every planet saw the truth, the betrayal, the attack, the silence that followed. Suddenly, entire populations turned on their leaders. Riots broke out. People demanded answers. Some even lit Terran flags in their windows, not in fear, but in apology that had been lied to, and now they understood. Meanwhile, Earth said nothing. Their ships kept moving, their soldiers kept moving, their soldiers kept erasing names from the ledger, one by one, planet by planet. No speeches, no warnings. Only the sound of systems going dark. On the cold moon Yeltris, a group of retired generals gathered in a panic room. They had all voted to bomb Earth during the Phoenix Protocol. Now one of them, high strategist Renvel, begged for mercy. He sent a transmission across the void to Earth Command. I was wrong. We all were. We believed the lies. We thought you were dangerous. Please, let us speak. No response. Then the lights in the room dimmed. The comm screen flickered and one line appeared. You had your chance to speak. Now, we don't need to listen. That was the last message from Yeltrist on a hidden temple on Cassri Prime. The monks prayed in silence. They had once tried to shelter Terran survivors long ago. They thought Earth had forgotten, but late one night, a Terran scout ship landed on the hilltop. Only one black armored figure emerged. He walked to the elder monk and handed him a data cube. Earth remembers who listened, he said. Then vanished. Inside the cube was nothing but names of every monk who died defending Terran refugees centuries ago. Not one was missing, even their final resting place. Coordinates were recorded. Earth had never forgotten. This was what made Earth's silence so powerful. It wasn't rage, it was precision. They struck only where guilt lived, and spared those who had once cared. They were silent because they had already judged the galaxy, and now they were simply executing sentences on Council World Nyrol. A group of senators stood before their people. One of them, voice shaking, said, "We destroyed Earth's trust, and now we pay the price." But the people were no longer listening. They were watching the skies, waiting. Meanwhile, Earth continued its operation. One by one, the black flags rose. Each one marked a memory. Each one erased a betrayal. And in the quiet between systems, a simple phrase kept repeating across old Terran relay stations. This is not war. This is justice. Calculated, delivered, finished. Far beyond the Council's reach, in a dark zone known as the Shattering, lay a system untouched by law or light. This was the hiding place of the worst the galaxy had to offer. Slave lords, black market kings, war profiteers. They lived among asteroid fortresses and cloaked trade hubs, thinking they were safe. Out here, credits ruled, and the name Earth was just a rumor. That changed in a single night. Inside Station Gravalos, the largest smuggler base in the Shatter Ring, the warlord Conreth laughed as he watched news of Earth's silent war. Let them erase their enemies. Doesn't mean a thing out here. His lieutenants agreed. They had sold Terran captives during the early wars, stripped ships, traded prisoners, even auctioned old Earth tech, and they thought Earth would never find them. But Earth had already found them. At exactly midnight station time, every camera on Gravalos went black. Then the lights died. Generators failed. Backup circuits fried. All at once. No alarms. No warnings. Then came the sound. Not an explosion, not weapons fire. Just footsteps, slow, measured, metal on metal. In command room, Khan grabbed his plasma rifle and shouted, "Get eyes on them." But no one responded. His guards were gone. His security drones dashed offline. Then the doors opened, and 5 black armored figures walked in. They didn't speak. They didn't aim. They just stood there watching. Khan pointed his rifle at them with shaking hands. "What do you want?" The lead figure raised a hand, and from its wrist, a small holoprojection lit up. It showed Khan's auction records from 80 years ago. Terran names, Terran children, prices listed, dates matched. Khan's mouth went dry. That was a long time ago. The holo vanished. The Terrans raised their weapons. Silence returned. So did justice by morning. Gravalo station was gone. No wreckage. No explosion. Just a black sphere of folded space floating where the station had been. And in its orbit, a single Terran flag. One line burned beneath it. There is no hiding from memory. All across the Shattering, panic spread. Old slavers abandoned their fortresses. Pirates dumped all Terran tech into Sun. Smugglers burned records. They thought destroying proof would save them, but it didn't matter because Earth already had it. And Earth never forgets. In one hidden station, a former captain named Verlek tried to run. He had once captured a Terran colony ship and sold it to the highest bidder. He lived under a false name now. New face, new records. But it wasn't enough, because when he boarded his escape ship, its interface turned black. The engines wouldn't start. Then the dashboard lit up. Verified Verlek station, Arkle's chain, year 7062. Verdict memory confirmed. He screamed. The ship exploded from within. The galaxy soon realized something horrifying. Earth's silence was not just military, it was data-driven. Earth's AIs had recorded everything during the old wars, names, images, logs, even whispers, and now that data was being used like a sword, each name checked, each act reviewed, each target judged without emotion. without warning, without error. Back on Lunar Prime, deep in the Earth's vault system, a neural intelligence called Salem ran operations and had been sleeping for centuries now. It was fully awake. It spoke only to itself, its thoughts echoing through black networks. Memory is order. Order is survival. Noise failed. Silence corrects. It sent out 1,000 commands in a single second. Across dead satellites, sleeper drones, all Terran colonies all came alive. The silent web was moving in the council chambers. Desperate leaders scrambled. They tried broadcasting apologies, even offered Terran citizens full galactic rights. But Earth didn't respond because Earth had learned something dangerous. Mercy delayed becomes weakness. Mercy ignored becomes silence. Meanwhile, not all were afraid. Some worlds' forgotten colonies, broken trade moons, former Terran allies began to welcome the silence in the mining city of Drelon, where humans once fought beside alien workers to overthrow slave masters. A single Terran ship arrived. It didn't attack. It landed quietly, and from its side ramp, Terran medics walked out, black armor. No words, only action. They brought supplies, repaired infrastructure, left before dawn. Just before leaving, they left a small beacon behind. One message: you remembered us. Now we remember you. This was the part of the war the Council hadn't expected. Earth's silence came with balance. If you had listened before, they didn't erase you. If you had helped, they helped back. But if you profited from Earth's pain, if you turned away, when Earth blared, then the silence was final. In a secret report, Admiral Kresk wrote, "We thought they were monsters, but they are not. They are mirrors. And now the galaxy is being shown its true face." He paused before his last line. This isn't revenge, it's reckoning. The war profiteers tried to fight back, hired mercenaries, built ghost fleets, tried to copy Earth's stealth tech. None of it worked. Earth's ships didn't leave traces. Their soldiers didn't retreat, and when their job was done, they left nothing behind. On a dark screen in a hidden sector, a new phrase began to appear in hundreds of old Terran satellites. Shadows cannot hide the truth. The truth cannot hide from silence. Then one word pulsed across the galaxy. Continue. Across the galaxy, a strange kind of terror spread, not because Earth was loud, but because it said nothing. And in that silence, every world began to panic in its own way. On Council world, Radix leaders turned against each other. They locked down cities, searched archives, and erased old war logs, trying to hide guilt. But Earth didn't need those files. It already had its own. And when Geradax's sky turned black and all long-range sensors failed, they knew. The day the Terran fleet arrived over Geradax, no weapons were fired, no buildings burned, no bombs dropped. But when the humans left, there were no more politicians. Only civilians remained, watching the silent ships vanish into the void. A single banner drifted down into the central plaza, landing gently. The innocent are not forgotten, but neither are the guilty. On other worlds, governments began to collapse from fear. The planet Velterra, once loyal to the Council, declared independence overnight. They broadcasted a message straight to Earth. We were lied to. We will no longer stand with those who stood silent as Earth burned. No reply came, but no Terran ships ever arrived over Velterra. Instead, one small drone flew overhead, left a case at the spaceport, and flew away. Inside the case, a medical crate marked Earth Aid, Terran soil in a sealed glass cube, and a short message. You spoke for us, now we speak in action. This message spread fast. Suddenly, dozens of worlds that had once stayed neutral or complicit flipped. They declared their past alliances void. They exposed old war crimes. They hunted their own corrupt leaders to avoid Earth's and doing it for them. The silence wasn't just destroying fleets. It was breaking trust between allies. Species turned on each other. Old treaties were torn apart. Trade unions collapsed. The very fabric of the Galactic Council began to rip apart. All because Earth didn't answer. It just kept moving forward. On the prison moon Scaries 9, the last of the Earth War survivors, once captured, tortured, forgotten, were still kept under false names. The guards thought they were just prisoners with memory damage. They were wrong. One day, all the cells opened at once. The security system locked the guards inside, and above the surface, a massive Terran ship hovered in complete silence. When it left, all the prisoners were gone. And the prison was gone too, turned to molten slag. A Terran flag burned bright on the surface for 12 full days. Just one line: we do not forget our own. Even Earth's old enemies began to fear their own shadows. The Karathi clans, once responsible for boarding and looting Earth's refugee ships during the first wave of the war, had retreated to the core worlds. They thought Earth wouldn't reach them there, but Earth had already been there. The Karathi comms channels were hacked mid-broadcast. A child's voice came through, speaking softly, almost kindly. You took my father's ship, now I take your sky. The Karathi homeworld lost orbit control 30 minutes later. Then its power grid failed, and the stars around it dimmed. Not because they were destroyed, but because Earth deployed its gravity shroud tech, learned in silence, perfected in pain. The Karathi surrendered, but no one answered them. On Lyra's edge, a small moon with no strategic value, an old monk received a visitor in the night. She was blind, ancient, from a species long thought extinct. She used to teach Terran children peace before the first war began. When the visitor arrived, tall, armored, faceless, she simply smiled and said, "I wondered when you'd come, child." The figure placed a hand on hers and gave her a folded Terran flag, not a mark of death, but of honor. This was Earth's new power. Its silence taught the galaxy one message: if you stood with Earth, you were not forgotten. If you turned away when Earth bled, justice was coming. Slowly, quietly, absolutely, in council headquarters. What remained of the leadership gathered for one final emergency session. The main chamber, once filled with arguments and posturing, was now quiet. Admiral Kresk sat at the end, eyes closed. "We are not at war with Earth," he said finally. A senator snapped. "Then what do you call this?" Kresk opened his eyes. "Judgment. We are not targets in a battle. We are names on a list. A list they wrote while we were too proud to listen." Another leader asked, "Then what do we do?" Kresk looked out at the stars. "Nothing. You don't beg the storm not to come. You just hope it passes." That same night, an encrypted message was sent across the last surviving secure channel. It came from an old relay near Earth's edge. One word repeated: balance, balance. No one knew if it was a warning or a sign that Earth was almost done. In thousands of places, across stars and moons and broken cities, civilians gathered and whispered the same thing: if they go silent, don't run, don't fight, don't speak. Just pray you were never on their list. And still, Earth said nothing, because the silence wasn't just a tactic, it had become a language. Earth had not spoken in months. Its black fleets had passed through system after system, quite unstoppable, precise. Worlds that once laughed at humans had vanished. Others that had helped Earth were left standing, untouched. And now the silence itself was beginning to crack in the far reaches of space. A strange signal appeared. Not a threat, not coordinates, just a pulse, rhythmic, slow, deliberate. It echoed across thousands of systems relays and old satellite stations. The pulse translated into two words: final phase. The message sent a wave of fear through the last council worlds. They didn't know what it meant, but everyone felt it. Something was coming on the edge of the galaxy. The system of Verix Theta had once been the secret vault of the Galactic Council, hidden behind asteroid fields and temporal cloaks. It was where the Council kept their deepest war records, including everything they'd done to Earth during the Phoenix Protocol. Only a few knew it even existed. But Earth knew, without warning. 7 black Terran warships exited from subspace. No weapons active, no lights. They hovered over Verix Theta in perfect formation. The Council scrambled. They launched defense drones, activated cloaks, prepared failsafes. None of it mattered, because when Earth arrived here, it wasn't to destroy, it was to show. One by one, Earth's ships began transmitting footage into the galaxy. Not propaganda, not speeches. Just truth. Images of Earth's burning cities during the first attack, civilians screaming, children buried in rubble, diplomatic messages from Earth begging for peace ignored, and the cold faces of council leaders laughing. Billions watched in silence. Even worlds that had never supported Earth sat frozen as the screen shifted to the present. Terran medics healing former enemies, black emerged soldiers helping refugee children on moons scarred by war. Silent Terran fleets dropping supplies onto abandoned colonies. One message played underneath it all: we do not speak to be heard, we speak to be remembered. The galaxy had seen war before, but never like this. Never so focused or so quiet, so controlled. And now, Earth's silence spoke louder than any fleet. Then something even more shocking happened. Earth's ships stopped. All across the galaxy. The black war fleets powered down. They hovered in orbit above old battlefields, war-torn systems, shattered colonies. And waited for days. No movement, no signal, just stillness, until a single broadcast was received. Galaxy-wide. It was not a voice, it was a file, encrypted in Earth's old military code. When cracked, it contained the last message of the Silence Protocol, a final statement from Earth's AI command-Salem. It read: the Silence Protocol is complete. We have balanced the debt. Those who acted in darkness have been judged. Those who stood for peace have been spared. This was not war, this was memory given form. You feared silence because you could not control it. Now you understand. Silence is not weakness, it is warning. Asterisk. The final line stopped the galaxy cold. Earth will now sleep again. But if you forget us, if you raise your hands against the innocent, if you lie, we will hear nothing, but we will return. Then the black ships vanished, every last one. Some faded into subspace, others descended into oceans, some simply shut down, left as silent monuments on distant worlds. No Terran soldiers were seen again. Earth itself went dark once more, and silence fell. But this time, it was different. No one laughed at humans anymore. No one mocked the death world. The council collapsed within days. Too many crimes exposed, too many leaders disgraced. New governments formed on peace, on memory. Fear of forgetting what Earth had taught them. In schools, children learned not just galactic history, But Terran history, they studied Earth's rise, its silence, its return, and every year on the anniversary of the Silence Protocol, the stars dimmed briefly as planets held 1 minute of silence. Not out of tradition, but out of respect. Legends grew. Some say Earth's fleets were hidden, watching. Others say they merged with the void, becoming part of the stars. A myth began, spoken in whispers: if you see no ships and hear no reply, you are already too late. In the ruins of an old battlefield on Belterra, where the final human silence began, a child walked with his father. The child pointed at a black flag still standing after all these years. "Why don't they come back?" the child asked. The father looked up, then smiled softly. "Because we finally listened, and because they only return when we stop."